Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Todd and Julie Chrisley talk their first interaction with each other. Todd and Julie Chrisley have talked about their first interaction with each other since getting released from federal prison. Fans have had a lot of questions about the situation. Was it weird? Was it awkward? There is a lot that people were wondering about the first time they reconnected. However, Todd and Julie have clarified the answers to fans' questions. There is a lot to unfold and uncover. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Todd and Julie Chrisley spent a lot of time away. Todd and Julie Chrisley were incarcerated for 28 months. This is how long they also went without seeing each other. They were in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. However, they still deny doing anything wrong. Donald Trump pardoned them recently, and they were able to come home. This was huge news for their family. Savannah had to take custody of her younger siblings, Grayson and Chloe. It was hard on everyone, not just Todd and Julie. Fans were glad to see that they were back home. Now the two are doing interviews and talking about everything fans have been wondering. The Chrisleys are working on putting their lives back together after their reputation was burned to the ground. They talk about their first interaction post-prison. Todd and Julie Chrisley have talked about their first interaction post-prison. Fans were wondering if it was weird or awkward. Julie claimed it was not at all. Todd then added, "People loved his answer, and the two seemed to be just as in love as they were before." It seems as though the interaction between the two was not weird, nor was it awkward. Todd knew he was coming home to Julie. It was just a matter of when. Todd was continuously thinking of her, and she was doing the same. However, they both admitted that they had changed, although they are glad that they did. It was a crisp autumn afternoon in the heart of South Carolina when fate first decided to weave Todd and Julie Chrisley's lives together. The leaves were doing their golden dance down the sidewalks of a small town square, and the scent of cinnamon from a local bakery lingered in the air like a whisper from heaven. Neither one knew that their world was about to shift on its axis. All thanks to a broken-down Chevy and a cup of sweet tea. Julie Hughes was working part-time at her father's mechanic shop that day. Her hands were smudged with grease, her hair tied in a loose ponytail, and she wore a smile that somehow made every stranger feel like an old friend. She was known for two things around town: her kindness and her legendary lemon pound cake. She was not, however, expecting to meet a man who would one day call her the love of his life. Todd Chrisley had driven in from Georgia to visit an old friend. Clad in a fitted polo shirt, designer jeans, and sporting a coiffed hairstyle that hadn't moved since 1989, Todd was already the embodiment of Southern charm and sass. But that afternoon, his perfectly polished world came to a halt. Literally, when his car sputtered to a stop right outside Hughes Auto Repair. He kicked the tire and muttered a few choice words before marching toward the garage. He had a hair appointment later that day, and if anyone understood priorities, it was Todd Chrisley. Julie glanced up from under the hood of an old Buick. "You lost or just mad at your car?" she called out, barely looking at him. Todd blinked, surprised. "Well, honey, I'm more mad at fate right now. My car died, and I'm not dressed to be stranded." Julie wiped her hands on a rag and gave him a slow once-over. "Looks like your shirt cost more than the engine in that car." Todd cracked a smile. "Are you always this direct, or am I just special?" Julie finally looked him in the eyes, and in that split second, something sparked. She didn't swoon. She didn't bat her lashes. But she laughed. And it was the kind of laugh Todd would spend extending a hand that was half covered in oil. "I'll see if I can get you out of this mess." "I'm Todd," he replied, shaking her hand. "And I have a feeling I just met someone I won't forget." From there, the story took shape like a Southern novel come to life. Not without its sass and definitely not without drama. Years later, sitting side by side in their ornate Nashville living room, with camera lights dimmed and their dog snoring softly on the rug, Todd and Julie reflected on that moment during an exclusive interview. She had this fire, Todd said, holding Julie's hand. It wasn't like I'd looked at her and thought, that's my wife. No, it was more like, that woman just told me off, and I liked it. Julie laughed, nodding. And I thought he was full of himself. His car was smoking, and he was worried about getting to a hair appointment. But there was something behind all that bravado, a vulnerability. Todd grinned. It was the cheekbones, admit it. Julie rolled her eyes. It was definitely not the cheekbones. They both leaned back, lost for a moment in the memory. The truth is, Julie continued, that first interaction was real. I didn't put on a front, and neither did he. We met each other in our rawest form, me in grease-stained jeans, and him broken down on the side of the road. Todd nodded. She didn't try to impress me. She didn't care who I was or what car I drove. And that was refreshing. Most people see me and assume I'm some big personality. But Julie saw through all of it. And Todd, Julie added, wasn't trying to be impressive. He was just being, well, Todd. And once I got past the layers, which, trust me, are many, I saw someone who felt deeply, who loved fiercely, and who was looking for a place to belong. The interviewer asked if they believed in love at first sight. Todd smirked. I believe in sass at first sight. Julie chuckled. And I believe in kindness that sneaks up on you. From that awkward encounter at the mechanic shop bloomed a partnership built on laughter, stubbornness, deep love, and more than a few reality TV moments. Todd and Julie's first interaction wasn't polished, planned, or perfect. It was flawed, human, honest. And maybe that's exactly why it worked. People think we've always had this charmed life, Todd said, gesturing around. But what they don't see is how it started. Not with glitz, not with gold, but with grit, and a girl who wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty. Julie smiled softly, and a boy who was brave enough to ask for help, even if it bruised his pride. As the cameras packed up and the room fell quiet, Todd turned to Julie. I still remember how you looked that day, he said. She raised an eyebrow. Covered in oil? No, he said. Like someone I didn't know I needed. Julie squeezed his hand. And you looked like someone I wasn't ready for. But I'm sure glad I didn't walk away. Their story, like so many great Southern tales, didn't begin in a ball gown or beneath fireworks. It began with grit, grease, and a broken-down car. And from that first moment, they knew, even if they didn't admit it yet, that life would never be the same.